Hey everyone, welcome back to today's episode. Today we are diving deep into the world of cake baking and more specifically, why your cake might be failing. There's nothing more frustrating than putting in all that effort only to end up with a cake that is dry, dense, or just plain disappointing. But don't worry, by the end of this video, you will know exactly what's going wrong and how to fix it. So let's get started. So we'll be having four segments. The first is your common cake failures. The second is cake being a science. The third is troubleshooting and fix. The last is tips to a perfect cake every time. So we'll start with the first common cake failures. First up, let's talk about most common cake failures. These are the issues that almost every baker has encountered at some point. The first is dense cake. A dense cake usually happens when you overmix the batter or use too much flour. The gluten gets overdeveloped, making your cake heavy and chewy. The next is dry cake. This is often due to over baking or not enough moisture in the recipe. If you cut into your cake and find it dry and crumbly, this might be the reason. The next is cake sink in the middle. This can be caused by opening the dough too early, under baking and using too much leavening agents like baking powder. The next is cracked top. A cracked top might look cool, but it's a sign that your oven temperature was too high or your pan was too small. The next is cake stick to the pan. No one likes when a cake sticks to the pan, tearing apart all your hard work. This usually happens when you don't properly grease and flour your pan. So our next segment is the science behind cake baking. Now that we know the common issues, let's talk about the science behind cake baking. Understanding what's happening in your oven can help you avoid these problems. Flour and gluten formation. When you mix flour with liquid, gluten starts to form. Gluten gives your cake structure, but too much of it can make your cake tough. That's why mixing time is so important. The next is leavening agent. Baking powder and baking soda are what makes your cake rise, but too much or too little can cause your cake to collapse or not rise at all. Our next is fats and moisture. Butter, oil, and other fats add moisture to your cake. They also help with flavor and texture, making your cake tender and delicious. The next is eggs. Eggs provide structure and moisture. They also help with leavening, especially when they are beaten properly. The third section is troubleshooting and fix. Alright, let's get into how you can troubleshoot and fix these issues before you ruin your cake. So the first is fixing dense cake. To avoid a dense cake, mix your batter just until the ingredients are combined. Don't overdo it. Also try weighing your flour instead of scooping it to avoid using too much. Fixing dry cake. Try adding a little more fat or liquid to your batter. Also, keep a close eye on your baking time and use a toothpick to check for doneness. Fixing a sinking cake. To prevent your cake from sinking, make sure your oven is fully preheated before baking. Avoid opening the door too early and check your leavening agents to ensure they are not expired. Fixing a cracked top. Reduce your oven temperature by about 25 degrees Fahrenheit and check that your cake pan is the right size for your recipe. Fixing cake sticking to the pan. Always grease your pan well and dust it with flour. You can also line the bottom with parchment paper for extra insurance. So guys, if you're actually enjoying the video up to this point, please don't forget to give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. This helps us to reach to people who will need content like this. Yes, so our last segment is tips for perfect cakes every time. Here are some final tips to ensure your cakes turn out perfectly every time. Measure accurately. Baking is a science, like we said earlier, so accurate measurements are crucial. Invest in a good kitchen scale and measuring tools. Make sure your butter, egg, and other ingredients are at room temperature before you start. This helps everything mix together more evenly. The next is oven calibration. Use an oven thermometer to make sure your oven is at the right temperature. Many ovens can be off by 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit, which can make a big difference in your baking. Our next is practice makes perfect. Don't get discouraged if your cakes aren't perfect right away. Baking takes practice, so keep experimenting and learning. And there you have it. Now you know the reason why your cake might be failing and how to fix them. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more baking tips. Please don't forget that one day at a time is the best. Till we meet in our next episode, please stay safe and bye.